Welcome to ThinkCapital interview. I already prepared a few questions for you. So it's just
Sure.
basically, just go through the questions to get to meet you, get to know your strategy a little bit and, how you go about trading and stuff like that. So my first question to you is, can you share your background, how you first got into trading and how long ago that was?
Sure. First got into trading when I was in high school. I was maybe about 10 years ago. I didn't really take it consistently,
Wow.
really take it seriously or anything like that. So probably within like the past year or so, been locked in, taking it seriously, and then just been trying to grind that way.
Nice. That's crazy. So, what is something that drew you into trading? So, what kind of made you start with it in the first place? Was it like freedom, or was it just,
Basically freedom, like time freedom to also travel and kind of make money online wherever I want. Another part of it was just kind of learning the skill in order to actually know how to make money online. And what I mean by that is if, things go wrong in the world, I still know the skill. I still know how to come back from whatever happens because of that skill. So I'm always able to
Mhm.
kind of get back on track with everything, but it was mainly more just like the time freedom and stuff.
Nice. And how long did it take for you to like become profitable?
Uh, Probably a year.
What was your biggest challenge when you was first like starting out with trading?
Honestly, probably psychology, right? It's not necessarily hard to learn how to trade, but it's the psychology behind it of controlling your emotions or taking them out completely, um, and really just staying consistent with everything, right? Because trading to me is just a capital game,
Hmm.
right? At the end of the day, whoever has the most capital wins the most, obviously. So it's just a matter of kind of focusing on really just building up your capital type of thing. And the psychology for me was more or less the challenging part to see like losses and wins and all that stuff. You kind of cut losses too soon and then it hits your TP, or for example, like, you take profits too soon and then it keeps riding up. So that's the hardest part for me in regards to sticking with the strategy was the psychology. So
Hmm. And how did you like overcome it or manage it the like for the most part? Because I trade myself, and I know for a fact that most of the times I am disciplined, right? Most of the times I'm a let's say consistent trader, but there's still moments where still become emotional, although you've been in the game for a few years. So how do you like go about handling and controlling the emotions, and also at what point did you have to get in order to get like get it done and actually make a change and not repeating the same mistakes again and again?
honestly, just back testing and practice and just trusting your strategy. Like for me, back testing is everything. Like I'm a big statistics guy. So if the numbers aren't there in the back test or the forward test, how can I trust the strategy? And then
Mhm.
once you trust the strategy, it's kind of just trading robotically in a way where it kind of just removes emotions. Like I don't even look at the dollar amount. I just care about how much percentage it is because if I can hit a certain percentage every month, all that's left is just getting a bigger account balance to
Mhm.
kind of reap those benefits of the percentages. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
just for me, just back testing a lot.
nice. Okay, so you would say like also for like new traders, you recommend to just stick with one strategy, then back test the strategy, see if it actually works for the person, and then just go from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
The what I found when I was kind of learning is that as a beginner, especially if you don't see, a lot of progress in one strategy, you tend to jump to another strategy, and then that can kind of, mess with your head a little bit. Like, okay, now I know a little bit too much.
Mhm.
How can I put it all together type of
Yeah.
thing. So stick with one strategy, test it for, I don't know, however many times you want to test it, see what the stats are, keep building that and working on that because all you need is one strategy at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, true. And now, when talking about strategies, what is your main strategy when trading? And would you consider yourself a scalper, a day trader, swing trader, or something in between?
um more of a scalper and day trader right now. I don't really like to hold my trades past 11:30. The reason why is because I like to trade more or less the main volume of the
Hmm.
day, which I find, at least for me, with the Nasdaq and like the indices, it's between like 9:30 and 11:30. After that, the volume kind of tapers down. Doesn't mean you can't make trades that way. Um, just for me personally and what I've tested, 9:30 to 11:30 is kind of my sweet spot. Mark out the 5 minute high and low candle of the first 5 minutes of the 9:30 session, and then basically just wait for either price to exit out of that. Um, Obviously, I'm going to need, for example, displacement, fair value gaps, other confirmations, and all that on all that stuff to basically come together and tell myself, hey, listen, all these rules check out, all these criterias check out, let's place a trade. Or if something doesn't work part of my plan, I just don't take the trade that way. So it's basically just not breakouts, but I'm just very reactive.
Mm-hmm.
That way there's like multiple different ways I can kind of trade my strategy based on what happens at those levels. So it's more or less time based trading, if that
Okay.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
and also probably like more technical, or do you also use like fundamentals that come into play?
More technical, like more, I do more technical analysis,
Mm-hmm.
right? Fundamentals, I'm kind of touching into. For me, part of my strategy is not to trade on any red days or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. Just because I tend to find that there's a lot of slippage, right? So you can
Yeah.
get stopped out and then it goes exactly the same way where you're planning anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for me, more technical analysis, yeah.
Okay. And do you have like any indicators you use on top of, reacting to price action, or just price action?
Mainly just price action and looking at the candles and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. The only indicator that I say I would use would just be like the volume profile or the anchored volume
Mm-hmm.
profile.
Okay. Nice. And what
Yeah.
does like your risk management strategy look like, especially when trading prop firms? Because there are certain rules that apply. So how do you go about your risk management?
For me, risk management is everything, right? In trading, you wanted the biggest, most important thing is to like protect your capital at all costs. So depending on, I guess, people's strategies and what you've tested in the past and all that stuff to kind of see how you can make yourself profitable. Um, what I essentially would do is just obviously you need to stay within the parameters of the prop firm. So you have to keep that in mind and kind of test that way.
Hmm.
You can't just test, openly and not take account for those. So it really depends on how many kind of criterias get checked off in my trading strategy. And what I mean by that is if I see more or less like a quote unquote A plus strategy, I'll risk a little bit more versus if I don't think it's as strong as, based on like my criteria and stuff, I'll risk a little bit less,
Hmm.
but I'll never really risk more than like 2% a day type of thing.
Okay, so it's like, let's say you have one trade and you lose that one and you risk 1%. You have a second trade, you lose that one as well, so you're down 2% on a day. Would that then cause you to just stop trading for the day and come back the next day?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Sometimes, again, that's where the psychology comes in. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I will find myself over trading and taking like another trade, maybe
Mm-hmm.
even at a lower risk because I've lost two in the day. I don't want to kind of get it to 3% type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you want to stay within the parameters, but usually if I lose 2% in the day, that's it for the day. Just stop trading and just wait for the next one.
Okay, nice. And what does your average
Yeah.
risk to ratio look like?
It ranges. I don't do anything less than 2 to 1 risk to reward.
Mm-hmm.
On average, I mean, I think I'm at, since when I started this challenge in the month, I think I'm at 17%
Mm-hmm.
within the month or something, between like the two payouts. But really between anything higher than 2%, more or less,
All
because
right.
I'll leave a trailing stop loss. I won't even have a TP. I'll just have like a trailing stop loss and trail it up as much as it runs.
Oh wow. Okay. Do you have like regarding that like
Yeah.
a certain pip amount, or if you're up, let's say two or multiple, you just move your stop loss to a 1 to 1 or 1.5, or how do you go about that?
Yeah. So essentially, for example, I'm always going for a 2 to 1. If the 2 to 1's not there, even if it has my criteria, um, because I also look at like certain, highs and lows of each session where
Mm-hmm.
it could possibly go. So my target kind of varies.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's under 2 to 1, I'm not taking the trade. Once it gets to 2R, like 2RR, I'll essentially just move my stop loss, right? right up to entry,
Mm-hmm.
so it goes break even, and then anything above 2RR, I'll have a very tight stop loss under any recent lows, and then I'll just keep riding it up until it hits the trailing stop
Oh,
loss
nice.
above 2RR.
Nice. All right. What tools, platforms, or resources do you use? Let's just say beside TradingView, do you use other platforms as well?
Yeah, I use to backtest, I'll use FX Replay.
Mm-hmm.
They've been pretty good to me. It works for me because now they just integrated a prop firm option, so where you can add certain rules as if you were testing on a prop firm. So if you go against those rules, it'll make you stop testing. So you can kind of play around with it to get a little bit better prop firm wise. And then even the ThinkCapital platform, I've used that to also help myself as well. So I find that just those two, platforms are mainly the ones that I use, besides TradingView, obviously.
Nice. And for like checking news,
Yeah.
which platform do you use?
I use a few, so you can use um, FX Street or my FX Book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're even the same thing, but I would literally just go into my FX Book economic calendar, change everything to just show the red days,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't really care about the other stuff, so just showing red days because it's the most volatility,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just kind of go based on that, whatever they say and stuff, what's upcoming. Like I don't trade on NFP days and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, that was also my next question. Like when, regarding red folder
Yeah.
news, do you just determine like, okay, what type of news that is and just stay away the entire day? Or do you have like a 30-minute window of before, like 30 minutes before I could still trade and 30 minutes after I could maybe also look for something?
Yeah, well, if I am, so for example, I'll use today as an example. So the Fed rates were coming due today at like 2 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
Eastern. So I knew going into the market, my strategy tells me not to trade. But I knew going into the market there might be some slippage, there might be a little bit of more consolidation leading up to the
Mm-hmm.
news. So I took account for that. But normally I don't trade any red days. That's just like what my plan and my strategy
Mm-hmm.
is. But if I were to trade a red day, I would just kind of have a little bit bigger stop loss. I would just take account for more
Okay.
things.
Yeah. Cool. Makes sense. And could you like walk me or walk us through like your typical trading day? Like how does it look like and how do you prepare for your session?
Sure. I mean, I trade while I'm at work, to be honest. So um, it's 2 different days. So if I'm at work, I'm literally just on my phone checking the charts from 9:30 to like 11:30. I'll wait to hear any alerts that I get on my
Mm-hmm.
phone in regards to, where price is and all that stuff. But mainly if I'm at my house, I'll just wake up, obviously do my morning routine where I kind of go for a jog, go to the gym and all that stuff, write a little bit of a journal, what I'm going to do for the day, what my plan is for the trades. And then I'll take the trades. I'll trade obviously from 9:30 to 11:30, do my strategy. If there's a trade, great. If not, then I don't take one. But then at the end of every single day, I recap on what happened throughout that day in the
Mm-hmm.
market, and then I journal what I could have done better, what I missed out on, or what I could have done
All
essentially,
right, nice.
so I can learn from
Yeah,
everything.
so you would also basically, for just traders starting out, what you also recommend to journal the trades, take notes before and after, and then, just document the entire process.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because again, I'm a very big statistics guy, and if you're not tracking your own progress, how are you ever going to pinpoint exactly where you need to improve
Mm-hmm.
on? So tracking, back testing, journaling. I know beginners probably hear it all the time in the YouTube videos or in the community of trading, but it really is
Yeah,
important,
facts, facts. Totally agree with that. Okay, and
right?
how do you
Yeah.
like
So
how do you personally stay disciplined and how do you avoid like making emotional decisions? Because, obviously I think it's just the fact that most of the traders fail due to the psychological part of trading. So how do you personally handle that the best?
Well, like I said before, back testing really helped me because the more I trust my strategy, the less emotional I have to think of things. But it's mainly what you do outside of trading. So if you don't have the discipline outside of trading in your life, you're not going to have the discipline or consistency to trade
Mm-hmm.
in the markets. So working on yourself outside of trading and like going to the gym consistently at the same time every single day, like essentially just having like your own life strategy in place that can correlate to
Hmm.
also trading as well.
Nice. And how do you like handle losses? Or like let's say big losses or like unexpected losses, but then also the normal losses. How do you go about that?
I mean, part of the game, so like it is what it is, right? Like you just have to kind of accept it. And if you stay within like your rules, especially the rules within, for example, like prop firms, you just I mean, like it's part of the game, right? Like most traders, they tend to kind of lose more than win. But if your risk management's good and your strategy works and your risk to reward is there, you can still be profitable even though you actually have more losses than wins anyways. But
Mm-hmm.
essentially just trying to, just to keep things going that way.
Mm-hmm. All right. And like how has your approach to trading evolved from the time when you started up until now?
As in, like, what do you mean? Like strategy wise or just everything or
Yeah, I think like more like mentally.
mentally? Like
Yeah.
mentally it's a big thing, right? Like I said, like I believe like the skills 30% and then the psychological effect of it is about 70% in trading. So just having that right mindset, like you can have a good mindset in trading, but like I said, if you don't have a good mindset outside of life and trading as well, that could really affect what happens in the market, especially if you see big losses or small losses even, or even just a little bit of profit that could like affect you. So
Mm-hmm.
just from what I've seen from when I began to where I am now, it's just the mindset. You just have to kind of get it set in a way to where you just take all emotional aspects out and just more or less kind
Mm-hmm.
of trade robotically and keep it as simple as possible. Once there's too many indicators and all that stuff, your mind kind of goes crazy a little bit. So just to try and
Mm-hmm.
keep it as simple as possible, that's really the best way that I found because I always used to complicate things too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
same for me. I
yeah,
also, I started with like too much information at a point where I really didn't know what works and what doesn't work. So
yeah,
then, I had a call with a mentor and he's like, Evan, like remove everything, like forget everything you know about
yeah,
trading and start from the beginning because you know too much, but it's
yeah,
not working.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's like kind of
Exactly.
the irony as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of like how
Cool.
what happened to me. I had no idea how to put things together. I knew a lot of stuff about
Yeah,
concepts and trading, but I'm like, well, now how do I reset and kind of just go back to the
exactly.
basics and kind of just make things more simple with knowing everything. So I don't want to say the
Yeah.
less you know, the better, but the more simple things are, the better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that for sure. Totally agree. Yeah. All right. So, one of the almost last questions is,
Sure.
how has your experience been with ThinkCapital so far? What do you enjoy the most, and what do you think could be improved?
Honestly, probably one of my favorite prop firms, right? Again, they're a broker-backed prop firm. Their customer service
Mm,
is very good. It's very fast. Anytime when I had like more or less like an issue with the portal or something, or it wasn't like updating, I'd send in a ticket within maybe like an hour, not even. They'd reply and get everything fixed up for me. So the customer service is good. The software is good, like the platform alone, and then the payout are also pretty quickly. I mean, I guess it depends on kind of what method you choose, but the payout method that I chose, I got the money within like 4 business days, and that's pretty quick, mainly just because of bank
yeah.
processing
Yeah.
times. So it's not bad.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Cool. And how much are you currently funded with us, if you are? And how many payouts have you received from us so far?
Yeah, I mean, just to try it, because I always do a small amount in the beginning. I'm only funded with 10K. Only had one payout. I'm on track to do literally request my second payout tomorrow because it'll be eligible at that point. And I wish I kind of bought more, to be honest. So I'll probably buy like a higher count maybe after this payout or something. But
Cool.
yeah, I mean, I wish the service
Nice.
is everything. Yeah, the service is very good. I only have about 10 grand, so
I love.
I'll be buying more. That's for sure.
Okay, so like, what is your like long-term goal then? Not just regarding like think capital wise, but general prop firm wise.
Well, I mean, obviously, like prop firms, I don't want to rely on prop firms. My goal with prop firms is to take whatever I make, put it into a personal account, and then do it that way. But I'll always have prop firms as long as I'm in the challenges because I mean, it's a good way to essentially start when you don't have a lot of money, so you can leverage the money to basically make your own money. But for me, just kind of my goal is to max out my allocation with whatever prop firm I'm working with, scale up to as much as I can, and then essentially just, reap the benefits of all the profits and everything in payouts that way. Maybe even pay for quicker payouts, or, a little bit higher of a profit split that way. That's kind of what my goal would be essentially.
Nice. And
Yeah.
do you have like any suggestions, feedback, or improvements that we can maybe add to the platform or remove?
Like probably not, to be honest. It's probably one of the easiest user interfaces I've experienced through prop firms. The rules are
Hmm.
pretty plain and simple, right? I think they're one of the best rule criteria out of the prop firm game. The only thing that I really notice is just, I guess, more or less the portal, which is, I assume you guys are like working on type of thing. I find that it kind of doesn't always update, not right away, but like even after like a day or something, as accurate as like
Hmm.
it should. But then it always ends
Hmm.
up getting fixed like a day after or something. So I know you guys are probably on top of that already, but that's really the only thing that I can kind of
Hmm.
see that needs a little bit of improvement, right?
All right, great. Thank you for your feedback, man. I'll forward
No,
that for sure.
yeah, no
I'll
problem.
have that checked out. So yeah, final question is, what advice would you give to aspiring traders who are just getting started?
What I would basically say, as if I was gonna talk to myself when I first started, is make things as simple as possible. Focus on your psychology more than the skill, because the more that you practice and back test, the skill is gonna come eventually. Don't focus more or less on fast profit, but focus more on just building the account slowly and basically gaining as much capital as you can, because that's really what's going to separate you from, making no money in this game to making actual money in this game. And then literally
Hmm.
just not flopping through different strategies, right? Because that can get really confusing. Stick to one, focus on that, really work on getting that profitable and everything like that. And then if you're good with
Hmm.
that, be consistent, move on to another strategy, and then really just work on yourself outside of trading, because as disciplined and stuff you are in trading, if you're not outside of trading as well, that could really affect it, especially the psychological effect of it, right? So I guess that would be more or
Yeah.
less my advice.
All right. Thank you. That's really great advice. I think that will help a lot of beginner traders for sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Before I stop the call, do you still have any questions for me, or regarding the Think Capital team that you want us to go over?
No, I think you guys have been good every single time when I've reached out to customer service. I'm happy so far with basically everything that I've experienced through ThinkCapital, so no more questions on my part.
Perfect. Awesome, Lucas. Cool. Then I'd like to thank you for taking the time. Thank you for trusting in us, and I wish you lots of luck and success. In the future with Think Capital, but also general in your trading journey, man.
Sure,
So
awesome.
yeah, thank you, man, and have a nice rest of your day, man.
No problem, sir. You
Take
too.
care. Bye
Have a
bye.
good one.